Hey buddies, welcome to AmassGames. My name is Simon. This is our setup play and review for the game SETI. This is a Euro game by Tomas Holek. You might have checked out my videos for Tea Garden and Galilei Galilei. This is by CGE. This has been set up to play as a 2. This is a game that we spent quite a few hours playing. It's his longest game of that set. And there's one of 5 or 6 different alien odd things in the base game, whereby you're going to flip over one of these things eventually by trying to discover them. Playing around with Earth, we're going to launching probes. We're going to be landing, we're going to be doing various other things as well, orbiting, scanning, analysing data, and playing cards. So starting off, you are going to have a card like this, and you're going to have a certain amount of draw cards initially. You're also going to have some energy and some currency, some credits, and then what you're going to do is start. So you're going to start off with 5 cards, some random cards from the deck, and you're going to try and play them out. For example, these are some of the cards I've played out. So I've played this out paying money, which was playing a card action. And then what can happen is throughout the game, I might want to try and place some of my signals, which are my little kind of markers, which look like this, out on the board. In this case, it says any sector. These are sectors, they're randomized, and each game is going to be different. 2 yellow, 2 black, 2 red, and 2 of another color, black, yellow, blue, and red. That's it. And then what you're going to do is see if you can try and score them. So in this case, if you're placed in the second position, you'll get 2 points. That's what 2 points looks like. But once it's completed, whoever has the most, or in a tie, whoever's to the rightmost position, goes up here and you get other bonuses as well. You can get some publicity, which moves you up here, which I'll come back onto. And also you can place out one of your markers into these kind of spots. That's good because, as you can see, you get more victory points, but initially you can go into these spots first, which also gives you, again, more publicity. Well, let's talk about publicity. Let's jump down to publicity. Publicity, once you've got 6 at least, you can research tech. So you're going to move your marker down. If ever you hit 10, you can't go beyond it, but you can get yourself some tech. Now, all of these will come out like this initially. If you're the first person to take any of these techs, you're going to get yourself 2 points. Get the point straight away. Take one of these markers and these techs, and it's going to go to the respective location. In this case, you can see, well, also you're going to get a bonus as well. So you could get 3 plus that bonus of 2 if you're the first to do it. And these are all shuffled and different. So you might end up with something different depending on what's at the top of the deck. So then what's going to happen is you can trigger the abilities on them. So in this case, you can scan better. I'll tell you more about that, etc. So we've talked about playing some cards. You can play only 1 card on your turn. And sometimes they're going to go in front of you. Sometimes you get immediate bonuses as well, as you can see. For example, you can get more publicity, or you can place out more of those signals, etc. You could launch a probe, spending 2 money, you take your probe, it goes on Earth. Now again, some of this tech allows you to have more probes in the game, which is handy because it's a limited resource game, it's quite tight. Instead, once you've got your probe out on a future turn, you can orbit, so you can spend a money and an energy, and this allows you to take your probe, go out, and wherever you are, you've got to be landing on a planet first. So I'll tell you how you get onto one first. Then you can choose to land on a planet, or in this case, orbit it. So let's say we'd got onto Jupiter. I was already on Jupiter. I can go over to Jupiter. In this case, I've been here already. So imagine I wasn't here. I'd get myself 3 points plus these things too, which is a data, which is basically one of these markers. It's going to go in your little pool down here. Maximum space is 6. Also place a signal, so one of your markers from here into the Jupiter zone. So in the Jupiter zone, you would go into this zone here. And then lastly, you can tuck a card. So you take one of your cards in your hand, so not these ones I've played out. You're going to tuck it into this big long line you've got down here, gain the benefits. So in this case, you could get a card that's a random card, as opposed to a card in the display. So that is the deck you're going to draw from. You are also said you maybe get some money or get energy, etc. So that is orbiting. Then landing is once you've orbited, you can choose to land. So this guy, that's me over here, I can choose to land and get all the benefits here. So more energy, or say more victory points, place that onto yellow again. I can choose to get some more data. Sometimes you might be able to land on a moon. Now, once all 3 is completed, that resolves, there's a new thing to come out. And also down here, we've got scanning. So you spend a credit, you spend 2 energy, mark signals. And in this case, you can always spend from Earth typically. So in this case, we have Earth here, but with that ability, I can go 1 either side. That's what this represents. Then you can actually scan. If you're scanning, it's matching one of these colors here. So in a red, blue, or yellow section. So it could go here, here, or here. And then lastly, you could choose to do this as well. In this case, as I've got all these other things out, discarding one of my cards. For example, I could discard a blue card if I had a blue card. So again, place one into the blue sector. We've already talked about researching tech. You can also pass. If you've got cards, you're always going to discard down to 4 cards. You would take the solar system. So imagine whoever passes, then what's going to happen is this is going to move across. In this case, we move the blue sector. So the blue ring, which is over here with the arrow, is going to move 1 position. But instead of that, you might be moving to yellow, which moves to the inner section, as you can see, etc. for orange as well. And that is pretty much what you can do. Now that's what you're going to do, one of those actions, then it's somebody else's turn. When it's back to you, you can do the same action or a different action. Throughout all this, you could be completing a mission. So in this case, I can give you an example. I completed this mission before. This one is if you happen to be at Saturn, including its moons, you get 4 victory points, and then you can flip that card over. Aside from that one, you could buy a movement. So you might have some energy. You can spend that to move your probe. So I might have got my probe out. I might move it into a comet, which would give me some publicity, until eventually I might land it on a planet. You can spend as many of them as you want. You could also buy a card for 3 publicity, and you can exchange any 2 of the same exact resource, so 2 money, 2 energy, or 2 cards, to get one of those other things as well. That pretty much summarizes everything that there is to say. It is a long game. It's very enjoyable seeing these planets align. It's nice to see what comes up here. You might end up with some bad cards though. But it's nice to see what cards you're trying to get rid of. Some people might compare it with Terraforming Mars because you're finding out that you might get some victory point triggers. So as and when you advance past 25 points, you're placing one of your markers into something you're trying to score, something to work towards. So it's a pair of completed cards. In this case, a pair of over here for each one of those sets, 8 points for each set, 11 points for each set of tech of those color types. And then the most tag that you have, in this case, I had 5, that's 20 points down here. So that's pretty much how the game goes. Each of these aliens have a unique thing. In this case, this is, well, the other one over here is this kind of like a negative one, because what's going to happen is, yes, you might have these cards in front of you, and in this case, you can be like, have threat. The person with the most threat into the game will lose 10% of victory points, but in this case, you can be gaining loads of points as well. So it's something to work towards and something to be aware of. At the end of each round as well, there'll be a number of cards plus 1. So what we're going to do is draw of those 3 cards, the first person to pass, and they get the first pick of one of these cards, and then whoever goes second gets a card, third gets a card as well. First player marker would then move to the person to the right. Any other questions? I'll try and keep you updated by the comments on YouTube at best. Obviously, like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell.